This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Welcome, listeners. This podcast is safe for first-time readers because it's made by a first-time reader. I'm your host, Dani, and I'm the one who's taken on the task of reading through this 15-book mega-series. I'm joined by my co-host, Brett, who's a longtime fan, and he's acting as my tour guide on this journey. Before we get into things today, we just want to talk about how this is our first episode to be released in December, which means that it is donation time over here at The Wheel Weaves. Every month, we donate $1 for every patron that we have to the Mayo Clinic. And this month, we have 44 patrons at the beginning of December, and that means we're going to be donating $44 to the Mayo Clinic in honor of Robert Jordan. And speaking of wonderful people, we have a new member of the Wheel Weaves Patreon team to welcome. So we want to acknowledge Kelsey Namespeaker as one of those amazing humans. Thank you so much, and thank you to all of our patrons for making this possible. And this episode, we're going to be talking about Chapter 45.
Yeah, what follows in shadow.
Ooh.
Spooky.
Yeah, especially because we're continuing inside the tainty ways.
Yeah, except they are kind of boring. But, you know, we'll get to that. So let me jump into my fun facts so we can get moving on this chapter then.
Okay.
So this one is actually pulling back a little bit to our girl Moiraine. And more specifically, fun fact about Aes Sedai. Because a lot of people wonder, you know, where Robert Jordan comes up with all these names and how he comes up with ideas. And we know that he pulls from a lot of real life
I know where he gets his names from. He just shoves a bunch of letters together and then arranges them until they sound like words.
That's sort of how language works, yes.
Yeah,
you're right.
But that's how his names work. He shoves a bunch of consonants and vowels together and is like, sure, Myrddraal is a word and now a name. Myrddaall. Like, it's so silly.
Yeah, double letters work. Anyways, so let's get back to Aes Sedai.
Right.
So, Aes Sedai, there's a good chance that it comes from an Irish folklore term for a supernatural race that's comparable to elves and fairies. And they're said to live in an invisible plane alongside humans. They walk among the living. And the name for this Irish folklore term is, and I apologize if I butcher this pronunciation, Aes Sedai, and it's spelled AES space SIDHE.
Oh.
So it's very similar to Aes Sedai. And it's kind of funny because these in Irish folklore are described as stunningly beautiful or terrible and hideous.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And we've gotten with Aes Sedai that they're kind of like have that agelessness. They can't really place how old they are so far.
Right.
We've only met two.
And then we've also had them being called Tarvalin witches.
Yes. Yeah. So not so good.
Yeah.
And a couple funny facts about these Irish fairies. It's said that they can often be appeased with offerings and care should be taken to avoid angering or insulting them.
Ah.
And I think that's just pretty good advice.
Yeah, all around. But especially for Aes Sedai.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the flip side of that, I think that's where the name comes from. But the breakdown of how Aes Sedai function in the Wheel of Time, it very closely resembles, in the Dune series, something called the Bene Gesserit.
Okay.
Now, what this is in the Dune series, it's a group that's described as an exclusive sisterhood whose members train their bodies and minds through years of physical and mental conditioning to obtain supernatural powers and abilities that can be seen as magical to outsiders.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's a very similar draw to the Aes Sedai we see in the Wheel of Time.
Right.
Yeah. So fun fact, bringing it back to our girl Moraine because she really kicks some ass this chapter.
No, that's a good one. It reminds me of all of the stuff we just talked about in our latest bonus episode, where you were bringing a lot of things back about ravens and dragons and wolves to lots of folklore and mythology and stuff, and so it's almost like you continued on.
It's all interconnected.
Yeah. Cool. I like those real-world inspirations that RJ draws, too. It just makes it that much more interesting.
Yeah, plus it means he did his research for sure.
Oh, yeah. He's a smart guy. All right, so let's get into Chapter 45.
Yeah.
So what follows in shadow? And there's a picture of the dragon's fang.
Yes.
Side of the thingy.
Yeah.
and I just say, bad guys.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it means. And you've had a little bit of speculation, but nothing's really come to fruition from that.
What speculation? I can't keep track of all my speculations. Is it that I speculated that Trollocs and Fades were using the ways?
A little bit, and you had implied that since the Dragon's Fang came up at the beginning of the book, when we met the peddler, that had something to do with something. But you were very vague.
Yeah.
And it sounded like you were implying things, but you didn't really...
I didn't imply anything.
Explicitly state
anything.
anything.
I would never explicitly state anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are continuing in the ways with our crew. They were just walking along in the tainty, dark ways.
Yep.
And they came up on a broken bridge, and it seems uncrossable. Plus, Rand just said that the ways are super boring and nothing changes or is exciting here. So that means a bunch of shit's about to go down.
That's pretty much what it has to mean, especially since we got it at the end of the chapter.
Yeah.
That means that we're definitely in for something this chapter.
Oh, yeah. It was good. This is a really good... This might be one of my favorite chapters so far.
Really?
Mostly because of the funny... exchange with all of our group all together.
Of the Emond Fielders?
Yes.
Like the banter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. And it was also exciting and different. I don't know. I like this chapter.
Yeah. I think it was really good for character development just because we kind of get to see how the entire group interacts together because we really haven't gotten that.
No, not since they've all gone through all their traumatic experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now we're all together.
Yeah.
So Loyal is taken aback by this unexpected event, and he's not very good with change. I think he's sort of used to knowing most things, and he gets really thrown off here.
Yeah.
Because there's this black void down under the bridge that seems to have no end.
And we've gotten interesting descriptions of the way so far. Like, we've gotten that it's dark. And we get that over and over again.
Yeah.
And we kind of get the side descriptions of there's bridges and there's islands and there's guidings, but we don't really get a visual of what it actually looks like.
Yeah.
And here we can kind of start to really understand what this place is. So now we know that the bridges are like less than a span thick. Like, they are super thin. They're a couple feet at most.
Yeah.
And there's nothing underneath them holding them up, so they're like literally
that
floating
we can
in space.
See.
Yeah, it's heavily implied here that it looks like they're floating on air.
Sure. So, Negative Nynaeve speaks up and says that, is this what you've brought us to, Aes Sedai? All this way to find out we have to go back to Caemlyn? And in all of my predictions about this broken bridge, I didn't ever think they would be going back through the ways to Caemlyn. Like, that seems like the worst idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, pick an alternate destination.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
find
go
a different
somewhere
way.
else. Yeah.
I said maybe Moiraine was going to use some magic to, like, create the rest of the bridge for them to just cross.
Yeah.
Like, I had a bunch of wild ideas about what they could do, and none of them involved just retracing their steps and going back to Caemlyn.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
that sounds like the worst
That's the
plan.
worst idea.
They weren't safe in Caemlyn at all.
So
Like,
here's a curious note, though, about what you just said, because last chapter you did predict that Moraine might try to, like, build a bridge of air or something and go across it. Now, we know that doesn't happen here.
no, it doesn't. And we find out that she's not using magic here.
Yeah.
Or she's not channeling the one power unless
she absolutely has to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's either that she can't make a bridge of air or that
I'd
she
say
just...
that she could.
Yeah, but
She's
she just doesn't
choosing
want
not
to.
Yeah.
Unless it's like dire most circumstances, and we figure out why, obviously. But
yes.
Yeah, so just a fun little note there.
Yeah. So Moraine just calmly replies that there's no need to go all the way back to Caemlyn, so phew, because they are just as unsafe in Caemlyn as they are here, in my opinion. Like, they were surrounded on all sides. There were White Cloaks that wanted them in the city. There were Trollocs and Faes that wanted them outside the city.
Yeah, Caemlyn was not the place to be.
No, it
so don't
was
go
not
back there.
good. No.
They should go back to Caemlyn, then go back to Shadow Logoth, and then back to Emond's Field.
And then stay put. Yeah. But then who would save the world?
Yeah.
No one. So, anyways, there should be many other routes that can take them to Thaldera. They just have to go back far enough for Loyal to figure this out. And Loyal right now is having a bad time.
Yeah. This is like his worst case scenario where he doesn't even want to be here.
Yes.
And now like his worst nightmares are coming true.
Yeah.
So he is being a negative Nancy.
Yeah. He says that he never imagined the decay would have gone so far, and he's all distracted and thinks that it may
the bridges are collapsing behind us.
Yeah, it may be impossible because there could be more bridges that are all messed up. And I mean, at this point, I think he's not wrong.
He's having a panic attack.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
He is freaking out.
Yes, but he's also not wrong.
He's not, yeah. Like it's a bad situation.
And who's to say that other bridges don't look like this?
Yeah,
right?
I agree that other bridges are probably collapsed in the ways. I think he's exaggerating or a little bit,
Oh, yeah. But
blowing
as
things out of
somebody
proportion, yeah.
who understands anxiety,
yeah.
I get this.
Yeah.
This is totally justified.
It's so funny throughout this chapter too, where he keeps like hinting up, "Hey, let's just go out here.
Yeah.
There's an exit right across the bridge here.
Yeah.
Let's go here."
He's funny.
Yeah.
But Perrin says there has to be a way, but in a very flat voice. And whenever I read in a flat voice, I think like robot, like monotone.
There has to be a way.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a good robot?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's pretty good. And Rand is surprised to see that Perrin's golden eyes look as if they are glowing. Like
Yes.
almost like they're taking in the light. And he notes that Perrin looks like a wolf at bay.
He's picking up the wolf vibes.
Funny that.
Yeah.
So
But there's no time for that now.
the computer's starting up.
Yeah.
Moraine tries to talk some sense into Loyal. Do you think people get...
I don't know. You've mentioned it a bunch of times so far.
Do you think people get that reference?
I think that a very small population of people will.
Maybe if people watch The Simpsons on Disney Plus now,
Yeah, they'll get
actually get all of my Simpsons references.
There's a good chance that nobody understands that reference, but you've said it
I
like
think
4
I'll order
times.
a tab. Press any key to continue. There isn't any key. I see Control, Alt. Oh, I think I'll order a tab. Well, no time now. The computer's starting up. If I do the whole reference, maybe people will get it.
Yeah, just say the whole episode.
So Moraine tries to talk some sense into Loyal, saying that it will be as the wheel weaves, and she doesn't believe that all the bridges are like this one. Like, she just sort of calmly talks him through the logic side of things.
She is. But we also have to understand that Moraine is a very fate, driven person. Yeah. Where her entire concept is that the wheel has led us this far. It's not going to, let us to die now.
Right. But what I'm saying is, if somebody in your life is having a panic attack, yelling at them or telling them, whatever, it's just the way it is not the way to go about doing that.
Should you say things like, just deal with it? Does that help?
Yeah, not quite.
Not quite? Okay.
But she says things to him like, Loyal, look at the bridge. I think that this bridge has been broken for a long time. This is an old break. Don't you agree? And getting him to see the logic.
Yeah.
Rather than just telling facts at him.
Yeah, just slowing him down a pace.
Yeah, Maureen has a really nice way of sort of urging him along.
Yeah, considering she bullied him into this in the first place.
Yes.
She's being pretty nice.
So Loyal says that he could take them to other places too, like Tarvalin or Setting Shangtai is only 3 bridges away.
And that's a funny one to mention too, because he clearly left without permission.
Oh, yeah.
So he's probably going to be in big shit from his mom or something when he
well,
goes
no,
back.
the elders.
The elders,
he
yeah.
said, I suppose the elders will be wanting to talk to me by now.
I just think of my mom giving me shit. So, but yeah, he's totally more than willing to go back to his home versus staying in the ways.
But Moraine says, no way, man. The eye of the world lies beyond Faldera, and that's where we need to go. So that's the whole point of this, and so Loyal agrees reluctantly. So they get back to the island, and Loyal figures out the way to go. So they get going again, and Rand can see that Loyal is starting to get maybe a bit homesick, or maybe it's just that he's really regretting this going into the tainty ways.
I think it's closer to that one where he sees a close exit right now to somewhere where he knows.
Yeah.
And is he would rather be there and go home than stay in the murder, death, crazy, insanity realm that he's in right now.
Right, that one.
Yeah. But you missed the description of the Ogier language.
Oh, yeah. It's musical.
Yeah, musical language sounding like deep-voiced birds singing.
Weird.
It's kind of funny just to think like this big giant monster with such an elegant voice.
Well, that's what Rand thinks anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Rand notices Loyal's distress here, and so he says to him, when this is all over, you can show me your steading and I'll show you Emond's Field.
And that's so sweet.
It's a cute sentiment, for sure. And then Loyal is just too negative here and goes, yeah, well, this'll never be over. So,
yeah.
There's that.
And also, Rand is, in the next couple of sentences, saying, oh, once we get to Faldara, it's all going to be fine and over.
Yeah.
But, that's not how it's going to work.
No.
It's like he doesn't even know there's, 13 more books.
Oh, man.
He has no idea.
He should really read these books.
He should pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's prediction time.
Oh, okay.
Do you think that Rand is ever going to get to show Loyal his home and vice versa?
Yes.
Oh, you're taking a positive spin.
Yes.
Okay.
Possibly for more mission-y type things.
Not like a fun, hey, come see where I grew up?
Not for vacation.
Yeah, okay.
But
you think it'll somehow they'll end up in each other's home places, homelands?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
That's sweet.
Whether the other is there or not.
Okay.
If Rand goes to
setting Shanghai to
for something.
Sure, and Loyal just goes to
Emond's Field to with
drink some brandy or something. Read some books.
To see the Grove.
Okay.
I don't know.
Hey,
I think
you know what?
They'll go. I think they'll be there. I think that things like this don't just show up in the book for no reason.
Okay.
That's my whole Elaine should marry someone from the Two Rivers.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, that was a huge indicator. It's one sentence, but it's she's marrying one of these guys.
Now that you're looking at it,
oh yeah, there's no way that's not gonna happen.
I love that. Okay.
Well, seriously, come on.
No way it's not gonna happen. All right.
So eventually comes the time for sleep, and they unsaddle the horses, which I think speaks to how safe they must feel in here, oddly. Because before on their journey, they didn't unsaddle the horses, just in case they needed to get a quick getaway.
Yeah.
But Moraine must really feel like there's nothing to run from in here.
Or it's if they do have to run, it won't matter because they can't outrun whatever is coming. You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
Caught...
I don't think that
no?
is ever in Lan or Moraine's mind that they just can't outrun things.
Okay.
Especially considering later on we get that Lan senses danger.
Yes.
Lan has that ability.
He does.
And...
So maybe since they don't sense anything...
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
They're getting that...
That's
okay.
my...
Gotcha.
Theory here is that Moraine must really feel like there's nothing. They also set up a little oil stove, which Lan tells them is what warders use in the Blight, where the wood isn't safe to make a fire with.
Yes.
Fun. It's like camping.
Yeah, except that the wood is apparently not safe to make fires with.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, that part. I meant the little oil stoves.
Oh, yeah, the little oil stove. Yeah, that is fun and cute. Yeah. Why do you think the wood is dangerous to burn?
I don't know. Evil?
Evil. All right, there you go. I love it. You know what? It's not your worst prediction yet.
It's a safe assumption.
Yeah, the wood is evil.
Yeah. Well, no. Evil is around and probably seeps into stuff.
Yeah.
So Loyal looks around and says that once the islands had all sorts of plants growing on them, like fruit trees and stuff, and all the books tell about it. And then Perrin growls and says, nothing to hunt.
Yeah.
And I just say, okay, Perrin, we get it. We get it. You're a wolf now. We get it.
But he does say it like he doesn't even realize he's saying it out loud.
Yeah, and startles himself that he said something.
Yeah.
But it's these are his inner thoughts. And it's okay.
So, well, here's the thing. When we were in Perrin's brain, we got to see a progression of that wolf ability really kicking in. And now that we're not in Perrin's brain, this is the second reference to him talking about hunting. Right? He got the hunting along the Blight, and now we have this one too. So it's we are seeing a progression in Perrin where he is becoming a little more animalistic.
Yeah. We get it.
Yeah. We get it. He's a wolf.
And no one's talking about it, and it's just kind of weird that it's even happening at all. Like, it'd be one thing if he was saying these things and then someone was like, hey, Perrin, are you okay?
What are you talking about, man?
Yeah, and everyone just ignores it. Like, if you were just like, good hunting. Like, I'd be like, what? What are you talking about? Like, it's just a little bit less realistic than I like to see with the, like, people interactions.
Okay, where everyone just kind of ignores Perrin.
Everyone's just ignoring it. Like, it's weird as fuck. Like,
Okay.
It's really strange. And I get that they know something's up and maybe that's why they're ignoring it. But at some point, they're like, they gotta be, hey, Perrin, you okay, man? Like, just to check in or something. Instead of
nice,
the complete ignoring that they're doing.
Yeah, the total lack of helping out or wondering, so.
Well, we got that Matt was wondering. And then Rands sort of said, well, whatever it is, Moiraine knows, so let's just ignore it.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't buy it.
All
if
right.
they're like friends, you know, I don't know.
No, I get it. I get where you're coming from.
All right. So Nynaeve asks Moiraine if she's going to set wards here. She just likes to tell Moiraine what to do.
Like make suggestions that
time.
she clearly already knows.
Yes.
Like you don't think Moiraine thought of that?
Yeah. Nynaeve says that even though she can't see anything, she can feel something out there. And Moiraine says that you can feel the taint. And she will not channel the power in the ways unless she has to. The taint is so strong that whatever she does will be corrupted.
Yeah, and this is where we figure out maybe that's why she didn't make the Bridge of Air. Or something like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Use the power.
They should have had just like Loyal like toss everyone over the big gap maybe. He's big and strong.
Yeah. And risk them falling into the black abyss.
Yeah, for all eternity.
Yeah. Mm.
You know.
So the mood turns all glum and the boys aren't really eating their food and they're all huddled together. And then Moiraine says,
hey guys.
Got some good news.
Yeah.
I do not think Tom Marilyn is dead.
Yeah, like huge bombshell out of nowhere.
What? And I went, yes, this is the best.
But you're also assuming that Maureen isn't wrong.
No, she's not. She's not wrong. She can't lie.
But it's not a lie if you say, I think that he isn't dead.
Yeah, but her logic is sound.
It's not the worst logic. That's true.
It's good.
Okay.
She's a good logicer. She's a good thinker.
Yeah.
And she's thought this one through. So, I'm happy. This is confirmation for me.
Confirmation for you was not seeing Tom die.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've never believed that Tom's
Never,
dead.
not once. Nope.
But in her mind, it's not terrible logic because people spoke of a Gleeman.
Yep.
But they didn't talk about the Gleeman dying.
Yep.
And you'd think that in a town that size, which isn't very big, you know, a dying Gleeman
Someone would have said something or let something slip.
Something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Rand looks at her sharply and says, but like, what about the Fade? And so Matt had told her about what had happened in Whitebridge, and she thinks that Tom is too important to the pattern to be cut off yet. Which is a funny way of saying died. Cut off from the pattern.
Well, it's the whole threads, right?
Yes.
She really likes that.
Yeah. Analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Sure. But when she says all that stuff about the people that she talked to in Whitebridge and none of them mentioning a dying Gleeman, I got that feeling too. When she was talking to the people in Whitebridge and they were like, someone escaped, man, on the boat.
Yeah, the Gleeman escaping on the boat. Like
there was specific mention and stuff like that. And so that's sort of, maybe I'm being led in that direction on purpose. And then this is like even further pushing me in the wrong direction of thought. But I really don't believe he's dead.
Okay.
So I really enjoy this. Plus, I really enjoy what comes next conversation.
This is the beginning of a fantastic conversation.
This is too good. Yeah. So Rand wonders how Moraine could know, and then it all clicks for him, and he says, Min, she saw something about Tom, didn't she?
Yeah, and that makes sense, because we got tons, and apparently Min's viewings always come true. Mm-hmm. So.
Right. And Moraine says that Min saw lots of things. And then Matt laughs and says, I don't know how Min saw anything about any of us. From what I remember, she spent most of her time looking at Rand.
Yeah.
I go, shut up, Matt.
Oh my god, you're so embarrassing.
Yeah. Because Egwene immediately raises an eyebrow and says, you didn't tell me that, Moraine Sedai.
Yeah, all formal.
Yes.
But it's a good note here, just besides the funny conversation side, that Egwene referring to Moraine Sedai, I think is really evolving their relationship, where Moraine's becoming more of a mentor to Egwene.
Right. Because the way Nynaeve says it is almost
like
sarcastic.
Snarky. Yeah.
Yeah. Condescending.
But like Sedai is a title.
Yeah.
So Egwene
it reminds me of in like karate.
Yeah.
When they're called like sensei.
Are you thinking Dwight Schrute?
I am thinking. Yeah, that
Good
is
office
actually
reference,
what came to my mind. But on the same note, teachers are called sensei.
Yeah.
In those martial arts. So.
Yeah, or at least some of them.
It's similar. Yeah.
So that's just kind of evolving Egwene into like she's now being mentored by Moraine.
Sure.
Because you had mentioned that you thought that the lessons between Egwene and Moraine were continuing.
Yes.
So it seems that way. That's true.
Yeah. So Rand gets immediately defensive, saying that he only talked to her once, and she dresses like a boy and has short hair like me.
Which is really funny.
And it's like, oh, how could I be attracted to that? Oh, she has short hair.
But coming from his village, he's literally never seen a woman with short hair, presumably.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's not representative.
It's an oddity.
It is.
Yeah.
So, like, I kind of get where he's coming from in a very conservative background. He has a very limited view of the world.
Yeah, sure.
So
his view is certainly being expanded, and I hope he becomes more open-minded, considering what Min has in store for them, I think. So he should probably open his mind.
Buckle up, right?
Yeah. And Egwene is such a jelly monster.
Oh, so jealous.
She is so jealous.
So funny.
She said, you talked to her. Once. And then takes a sip of her tea without looking at Rand. She is being such a hypocrite here. And then I go, oh, good. Perrin agrees with me and calls her out on her.
I love that Perrin comes to Rand's defense. And this
Yeah.
is what I said about the character. Like, we haven't seen these four back together, really.
Yeah.
And even in Emond's Field, we saw a glimpse.
Yes.
But we have to assume that their entire childhood, they've all kind of like played together and grown up together and everything too. So we're getting like a taste of it.
Yeah. So Perrin calls her out on her bullshit. He says that Min just worked at the inn, not like Aram. And then Egwene chokes on her tea and says, oh, it's too hot.
Yeah.
Or
Nope.
I also just have a side point. I didn't know that Min worked at the inn in Baerlon.
Yeah, she was like a stable hand.
Yeah, I don't think we got that.
Yeah, I think we did.
Okay, well, I didn't get that. I missed it.
Okay.
I just didn't know. I thought she was just like a guest there.
I think it was mentioned. Anyone can correct me if I'm wrong. But
no, I don't know if it was mentioned specifically, but I know that when Moiraine shows up back at the Stag and Lion again, she says, is Min here? Or something like that.
Yeah.
But I just thought maybe she was a visitor to the common room or the bar, or
okay.
And she just sort of hung around there. I don't know. Anyways, that was just a side note for me personally, that
Sure.
wasn't something I picked up on, that she actually worked there. So anyways, back to Aram, because Rand says, who is Aram?
Huh.
And I just say, I love this so much.
It's great.
This was so good. And Perrin smiles like Matt did in the old days when he was up to mischief.
And I just want to bring out, Perrin has some of his sass back. Like, when we see Perrin, Perrin's a sassy dude.
Yeah.
Especially when him and Egwene were alone and he had that little sassy rant about Egwene like making decisions without him.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
Yeah.
And this is just like a call right back to that.
Oh, I don't know, Perrin. Do you think that's what we should do? Yes, I think that's what we should do. Like, he's really funny.
Yeah.
And he's just been waiting to call Egwene out on this so bad. He hated Aram.
He did.
So much.
And to be fair, Aram was
a dick.
A huge dick, yeah.
But Egwene says, well, he was just one of the traveling people. And Perrin doesn't just let her off easy.
Doesn't even skip a beat
No.
here. Yeah.
He says, but you said he dances like a bird, didn't you, Egwene?
Isn't that what you said?
It was like flying with a bird. And Egwene here does her typical, I don't want to talk about this, so I'll just remove myself from the conversation.
Yeah.
That's what she always does. She's classic avoidance, turns on her heel and leaves.
Yeah,
type
not
of person.
About it, so.
She's definitely bad at communication. Because at this point, she rolls over and says, she's going to sleep now. And Rand thinks about how he wishes that he knew as much about women as Perrin does.
So good.
Yeah. Little wrap up for you there.
Yeah.
And good old Matt says slyly, why don't you tell Egwene about Farmer Grinwell's daughter, Else?
Yeah.
And Egwene sits up to stare at Matt and then Rand. And then Rand says, sleep sounds good about now.
I guess we're done this conversation.
Yeah.
And I've just kind of been waiting for this because, like, every time we meet these characters, I like knowing this interaction was coming too. It's just so funny to see how they all interact.
It's so funny.
And it's nice to see that Matt really is getting back into, like, Matt mode.
Yeah.
To be the one where the conversation is, in a sense, winding down, and then he has to just poke a little bit more.
Yeah, it's almost like they both know that Egwene and Rand are both very jealous.
Yeah.
And Perrin and Matt think this is funny.
Just, like, fueling the fire just a little bit.
Just for fun. Because then once they get settled, Matt whispers to Rand... because he wants to know if there was anything between him and Min.
Yeah.
Because she was pretty.
Yeah.
But practically as old as Nynaeve. And Perrin wants to know about Else.
Yeah. Was she hot?
Yeah. What happened?
Yeah.
What happened there?
I just think of it like they got to bust into like a little Grease sing along here. Like tell me
more. Yeah. But Rand really isn't having this though. And basically says fuck off. And tries to go to sleep. But I really like this whole interaction. It's almost normal. Like the three best friends that anyone could have. All together. Making fun of their friends.
Yeah.
It's good. It's cute.
No, I think it is good.
But back to some seriousness.
Because the darkness is weighing in on them.
Yeah. I wonder what Nynaeve, Lan, and Moraine think of this whole little exchange that they're all having.
Okay, so I would think that Lan is just thinking like, you know, dumb farm people,
probably
village
nothing.
idiots. Yeah. Moraine.
Maybe like Lan and Nynaeve are just like making eyes at each other in the corner while no one's paying attention.
And Moraine's just like, what, hating all of it? Or
having tea.
Worrying about the pattern and the dark one?
Yes.
She's probably annoyed that she's the only one taking this seriously.
Yeah. Well, anyways, the boys are having trouble sleeping, and Moraine kneels over each one of them to whisper something. And when she gets to Rand, she says, your destiny protects you. Not even the Dark One can change the pattern completely. You are safe from him so long as I am close. Your dreams are safe. For a time yet, they are safe. It sounds like one of those mantra thingies that you play in your sleep for, like, hypnotism.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know when Chandler wants to quit smoking?
Yeah, and he's like a strong, independent woman.
Yeah, that part too, which didn't age well. But
yeah, no, not at all.
But the whole, you don't need to smoke.
Yeah.
You will give up smoking. Like, just like, while you sleep, it's like this mantra. And I just think it's interesting that she says your destiny protects you, but then she says you are safe from him so long as I am close.
Yes.
It's like she's doing a little bit of brainwashing. You need me. Don't leave me.
There's like
it'll be better if I'm with you.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you because there's a few different ways we can kind of take this. Like even breaking it down line by line here, when she says that not even the Dark One can change the pattern completely, we've heard reference that where the Dark One can influence the pattern, where he can like make a chance turning go one way rather than another. We've heard that if the Dark One was actually free, you know, the world would basically be over anyways. But it does sound like brainwashing where she's saying, as long as I'm close and as long as I'm close. So it's just really, how does this whole, you know, Aes Sedai can't lie, how far do we really take this?
Yeah.
There has to be some truth to the saying that Rand is safe as long as she's close.
Yeah, but she's making a point of saying it.
But to what extent?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And then I'm also curious if she has said the same thing to the other people too.
Yeah.
Because Rand can't hear what she said to the other people.
I think, and again, I was going to ask you if you think that she's actually doing any channeling on them. But I think that we could say no because she doesn't want to because of the taint.
Yes.
But I would have to assume that each individual message is personalized. Because we know that the three boys are definitely going through something different. Perrin with his wolf thing, Matt with the dagger thing, Rand with all of his stuff. So I would think that the messages are personalized.
Okay.
But
interesting.
Yeah.
So they do eventually get to sleep and do not dream, and then Lan wakes them up and they get going again. Soon after, Lan says that there is something or someone following them.
Yes.
And Matt immediately knocks an arrow and looses it into the darkness from the way they came.
Which is great.
Okay, impulsive.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Like before anyone can stop him.
Oh
just
my
like,
god. And then Lan calls him a village idiot and
Yeah.
says there's no way to know who it is.
Yeah.
Like, stop that, idiot.
And it's like, how far away? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, okay. And I just keep coming back to thinking, Gollum is totally following them through the ways.
Gollum.
Yeah.
Looking for
it's
his
Smeagol.
ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the total Moria path that is going on right now.
Sure.
That's when he follows them through the mountains?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. I get it.
Right, okay.
I know things.
Totally.
Totally cool. So Loyal goes on a rant to himself about never dealing with an Aes Sedai unless it's in a steading. That's the only time they're safe. At least that's what the elders say.
Yeah, this is great. Like, clearly this is some, like, prejudice shit that Ogier have.
Yes.
Towards Aes Sedai.
Well, and they're not wrong. They're crafty.
They're not wrong.
Yeah.
That Aes Sedai can't channel there, so maybe the only place they're kind of safe. But
yes. But Egwene says that maybe it's another traveler or an Ogier, and Loyal says that Ogier all have more sense than to enter the ways. All but Loyal. At least
not
that's
stupid Loyal.
At least that's what Elder Haman says.
Yeah, it's just like him berating himself again and again.
And Lan can't feel if it's something evil because of the tainty ways making everything all weird and different.
Yeah, because his detect evil sense is like he can feel evil things, but I suppose that the entire ways would kind of feel bad.
Yeah.
I would have to assume.
Especially if he gets some of his senses and powers from the one power.
Yeah,
from
which
Moraine
would also
and
make
Aes Sedai,
sense, yeah.
Then definitely he could feel the taint in the same way that
it's all corrupted, yeah.
In the same way that Nynaeve can feel that there's something off, and Moraine just says, what you feel is the taint.
Yeah.
So, Lan lets them know that whoever it is almost caught up to them but went down another bridge, and he suggests falling behind to check things out, kind of like he usually would, but Loyal says if he does that, he will spend the rest of his life in the ways. And he has never heard of a human who can get through the ways without an Ogier guide.
Yeah, so basically if you get lost in the ways, you're going to die in the ways.
Right, and then he confirms that Lan, in fact, cannot read Ogier script.
Yeah.
And so definitely, don't go alone.
Yeah, bad idea, and he doesn't, thankfully.
Yes, and Moraine says that they actually don't have any time for this. No time. And then they won't worry about it as long as whoever it is doesn't trouble them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So at this point in the chapter, I write here that I think this is Trollocs in the ways.
Okay.
I think he can feel when Trollocs are near.
Yeah.
Like within a quarter mile, right?
Yep.
That's his
his radius,
sense.
yeah.
And I think he's having trouble feeling exactly what it is, and so he's thrown off a little bit. But this sounds to me like his Shadow Spawn sense, or at least Trolloc and Fade sensor that he has. And then plus, I had assumed that the Fades and Trollocs were using the ways to get so many Trollocs in different places without being seen.
Yeah, that was kind of Moraine's, and again, we kind of get more into this later on in the chapter, but Moraine clearly had a speculation and she dismissed it because she just didn't think it was
the
even
ways are closed.
They were closed. It's not possible.
Yeah. So as they reach the next island, Loyal says again about reaching Tar Valon sooner, and they could just go across this bridge to get there.
Hey guys, there's an exit right here.
Yeah.
Right here. Do you see it? It's right there.
Yeah. But then something happens. On the stone guiding thing,
Yep.
there is some mark scratched into the stone. And Lan freaks out, riding around as if ready for an attack. So Moraine tells them that it's Trolloc writing?
Yeah, it's basically Trolloc script.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's why as soon as Lance sees it, he goes into like full,
Freak out mode.
yeah, safety officer mode, we'll call it again.
Yeah.
Because he starts doing his routes, he's like fully alert, and he 100% assumes there's Trollocs nearby.
Yeah. And Moraine tells them that this explains the decay and the taint. The Trollocs have discovered how to enter the ways, and all of our suspicions, well, my suspicions of them using the ways to travel unnoticed and quickly are confirmed.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny that way back when, she did suspect it.
Yeah.
And if she hadn't have just completely disregarded it because she thought they were all closed. But that's kind of the big part, is that the Trollocs have some sort of way to travel the ways. And that's what the marks are for, to help guide the Trollocs to different places.
Right. And so Lan calls out that the Trollocs do not use the ways easily. And they all go to see what he has discovered. And it's a gross scene of dead Trollocs, their bodies half sunken into like this bubbled surface. And Rand thinks that even for a Trolloc, this is a horrible way to die.
Yeah, so this is like huge information we're getting here. Because, one, the fact that Trollocs can even use the ways, we know there's waygates scattered all across the world. And if the Trollocs are using them, they can pop up literally anywhere. And the only issue is that they don't have all the right pathways.
That's right.
Because if they did have the right pathways, they'd be popping up in like all over the place in the middle of Camelin.
Yeah, well,
Even,
and Moraine notes that they clearly haven't discovered the Waygate in Camelin.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'd be popping up in the city.
Yeah, because if you think about the amount of guidings and paths and bridges that these, the group has taken in the last 2 days here, like it is an intricate system. So, but the
without an Ogier guide, even.
Yeah. Oh, here's a question. Do you think that there could be any Ogier dark friends? Yeah.
No.
Like an evil Ogier who would take them, just not happening?
Not even a little bit.
All right.
No way am I buying that one. Not the Ogier.
Not for a second?
Not for a second.
Not even one who is scorned?
No, the closest to a dark friend of the Ogier would be Loyal.
Just because he's doing
Different.
Stuff he's not supposed to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the second side of this really important information is the fact that Lan says that even traveling the ways, it's a risk for the Trollocs.
Yes.
So that is big. It's because the Trollocs clearly are not immune to the evil or the dangers of the ways, but it's really just a matter of, is the Dark One willing to sacrifice, a bunch of Trollocs to get a few?
Well,
through?
yeah, they're the minions, right?
Exactly.
Who cares?
Well, and that's the point. So
Moraine says that it is likely the men who made the ways set traps to protect against the creatures of the Dark Ones from using the ways. And Rand notices that Egwene is hiding her face, and so he goes over to put his arm around her, and she clutches onto him, and she continues actually to hold his arm for the next 2 bridges, and he's kind of upset when she takes her arm away. He thinks it's easier for him to feel brave when he has someone to protect.
Yeah, he's not wrong. That is a thing.
And I like that they do have this little interaction, even with the events of yesterday.
Yeah.
They're sort of facing imminent danger, so they're able to forget their petty jealousies for the moment. Anyway.
It kind of reminds me of when Perrin and Egwene thought they were going to die.
Yeah.
And then Egwene's like, oh, will you dance with me?
Yeah,
right?
it's sweet.
Very sweet.
Moraine starts to take extra caution while riding, and Rand notices that he can hear wind off in the distance. And then he says suddenly, Loyal, I thought there was no wind in the ways. And Loyal whispers, Machin Shin.
Machin Shin.
Yes, that's what I said. The Black Wind.
Yeah. And just as a big side note here, because in the half a page that we went from one point to the next, they've been traveling all day. So this isn't immediately after.
Right.
Yeah,
yes.
they traveled, had lunch, kept traveling.
Right.
So they have been going for a long time.
And then they start to hear wind, and then it takes a while for him. He's thinking about how it'll be nice to feel the wind again, and then all of a sudden it clicks. He's like, wait a minute.
Wait a second.
Yeah, exactly. And Moraine quickly asks how many more bridges. And Loyal says, there are 2. And now you know there's something to fear when Moraine gets all intense.
Yeah.
So they are galloping at this point.
Can I do another Lord of the Rings reference?
Sure.
This is when Gandalf says, fly, you fools.
Yeah.
It's time to start running from the Balrog.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at this point, they can hear the wind getting louder and stronger, and finally they see the white guiding line on the ground, and they know that it leads to a waygate. The one that they need.
Yeah, we got a couple mentions this chapter too, that the white lines start at guidings that are leading to waygates.
Yes.
So there's a bunch of guidings that are in the middle that have none of those white lines, but the white lines specifically go from guiding to waygate.
Right. And so they reach the gate, and Moiraine notices that the Avendasora leaf is gone, which means the key to the waygate is gone.
Yeah, so they can't open it.
Right, and so the wind is so loud at this point, and Rand can almost hear voices in it.
Yes.
And what they are saying makes bile rise in his throat.
Okay, so this is big.
Yeah, I had a note, though, while I was reading, because this annoyed me.
Sure.
Because I always wonder what the voices could be saying. And I have a note that authors never tell you what is actually being said. And it's kind of frustrating.
Oh.
And like later,
it gets so good.
Yeah, it's good. But at this point, I say different things like when people growl an oath. Like, I want to know what swear they said.
Yeah, what the oath was.
Yeah, and the things that the cart drivers were saying in the Four Kings that made Rand blush.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know what they were saying. Like, there's things left out where I'm like, okay, but like what actually? Like, I want to know.
I would have to assume as a writer, it's really hard to come up with like new curses and new swears and new like...
It doesn't have to be new.
Vulgar things to say. Yeah,
but I want that. As a reader, I don't like all this vague stuff. I want to actually know what it is. And so I had a point here that I was frustrated, but at least I was relieved. Because, so, Moraine uses the power, and she says that she wouldn't do this unless she had to, so I guess this is the last resort.
Yeah, Maureen is not dying here.
No.
No way. She's gonna blow a fucking hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Like, she's getting out of here.
She makes fire shoot out of her staff and starts to melt the stone of the waygate.
Yeah, and that's a good point that the waygates are nearly indestructible, but the doors...
The stone itself.
The stone doors that, block the waygates are not indestructible.
Right.
So.
Because the opening she creates isn't exactly big enough for them to fit through, and Rand can feel the tugging of the wind on his cloak and hear the voices more clearly now, and then I put in brackets whatever they are saying.
Yeah.
And then Mandar leaps forward with Lan crouched in the saddle and gallops towards the opening and breaks through the wall. And Rand doesn't hesitate. He shoves Bella forward and slaps her on the butt.
Yep.
You know how
and get everybody moving.
Yeah, you know the thing you do to like make horses. And,
you say, yeah!
Yeah, or like cabs in New York City in shows when you bang on them.
Bang on the roof,
to make them go.
I don't know if that's a real thing, but, it might be.
Well, TV.
Yeah. Also, if we have any listeners in New York, please tell me if that's a real thing.
Or just like other places where you like
bang
hit
on
the
cabbie
back
roofs.
of the cab to make
go,
it go.
Go. And say, follow that cab. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that one too.
It's like, did they do that?
Maybe. So Moraine yells at them to get out quickly and then shoots some liquid from her staff back at the wind.
So it was also fire.
Fire liquid.
It's
syrupy liquid. The liquid light rendered to a syrup of fire.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Blazing spear of white and red and yellow.
Okay, tell me about the tainty fire.
So it's still fire, it's just very corrupted, and now it's interacting with this black wind, which is clearly doing something, but it's not natural.
Right, and the wind shrieks in agony. So it's doing something.
And it's got 1,000 voices, right? So not good.
Not good.
It kind of makes sense why anyone who comes out having interacted with this wind comes out crazy.
Yes.
Talking about the madness of Machin Shin.
Yes. So, Rand hurries through the opening, and he gets the same chill that he had when he went through the first time. And Rand sees that Lan has his hand on his sword, ready to race back in there if Moraine doesn't show up.
I was just reading my notes here, and I just thought it was worth mentioning that apparently I made an Oprah reference.
An Oprah?
Yeah, because I was talking about Moraine handing out fire like she's Oprah. You get some fire, and you get some fire.
That's a really, really bad joke.
It's pretty funny, because she gives fire to everything in the ways. That's a pretty good joke.
Like the doorway and then the black wind.
Oh, yeah. You don't like that?
It's okay.
Yeah, okay.
It's not your best. The Waygate looks like a jumble of stones at the base of a hill, hidden by like dead-looking bushes and stuff.
Yeah, so it's just literally in the middle of the wilderness.
Yeah.
So.
Can we assume this one was built outside a grove?
Yes.
Is what they're looking at a grove?
So all the waygates were built outside either steadings or groves.
Okay.
So like in Camelin, it was built outside of grove. Not a steading.
Right.
The difference being the steading is the magical barrier. So yeah, it seems like this is definitely just a grove.
Okay. So Maureen comes out after them, but more slowly, and she is backing up, still facing the wind, pointing her staff at it, and then when she breaks through, the hazy surface of the Waygate darkens, and they can hear the scream of the voices in the wind. And hey, we do get what the voices are saying here.
We do.
And it's awful.
Do you want to read it, or do you want me to
Nope,
read it?
I paraphrased.
Okay, I'm going to read it.
No, don't.
No?
It's gross.
It's so good, though. Like, you wanted it. You were looking forward to it.
I like to read it, but like... they like to kill people and play with their skin and stuff and see their blood and hear the sweet singing of screams.
Yeah.
Gross.
So, here's a question.
But so good.
But this kind of leads to the question that this Machin Shin, the Black Wind, the thing that whatever apparently it ensnares either kills or drives to insanity, what do you think these screams, or what do you think the screams came from?
Well, Loyal says that the black wind that steals souls.
Yeah.
So that's obviously what that is.
So you think that the Black Wind, the voices in the Black Wind is like the souls of the people that it's killed?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then like tainted.
And tainted, and now they're all like entrapped.
Bloodthirsty souls.
That's pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bad thing.
You know what? I think Loyal was
Poor
right.
unfortunate souls.
Okay.
Another Little Mermaid. I think I've done that reference before at some point.
Maybe. Yeah.
Shoot.
But it is important to note here, too, that Moraine didn't know for sure if the wind could escape or not.
No, she didn't. And the doors don't close because now it's just a jumble and it's just open.
So she's just really hoping that the wind can't get out.
Yeah, and she goes, phew.
Yeah.
I thought it couldn't get out.
Yeah, good
and
thing.
then she throws her staff on the ground and wipes her hand sort of off on herself, and the staff is half covered in char, thick and black, and she says that the taint corrupts everything in that place.
Yeah. So, I mean, if the wind could get out, there'd be nothing for it, so she had to go on the assumption.
Well, and eventually it leaves, and they stop hearing the voices and stuff.
Yeah, it does eventually leave them alone, but yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing that she didn't have anything better to go on. Like, if it could get out, then...
Fucked.
Yeah.
They've just released it on the world.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Shoot.
But, like, what was their choice?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, they had no choice.
No.
That was it. And they had one plan, so...
And so this is where Nynaeve asks what that was, and Loyal answers...
With the best answer.
Matter of fact.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it was just the black wind that steals souls.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Didn't you hear when we talked about the Black Wind?
And Moraine says that it's something left over from the time of madness, perhaps, or some of the other wars or something.
Yeah, so she kind of gives a description, and it is a little bit important. So she says it could be something left over from the War of Shadow or the War of Power, which was the war that ended the Age of Legends. So it also could be something that was like hidden into the ways, and no one like knew it was there when they first created the ways, because the ways, not only do people not know how they were actually made, because that was thousands of years ago, it also could be something that's living within the ways, because she describes it as the ways being a living thing, and living things have parasites, so the Black Wind could be like a parasite of this living organism. Because the entire description of the ways is like they grow the way gates, right, and all these different things. So it's very unclear what it actually is, and if this Black Wind has collected souls over the last thousands of years, it would also have evolved. So, yeah.
Okay. And we get here that the Black Wind is something that definitely hates light and life. So then Egwene yells for her to stop talking and says she can't take it, but Moiraine says she's got to toughen up. There's worse to be faced yet.
Yeah, Maureen's bad at bedtime stories.
Yeah, but Egwene, also, chill out. You got a lot to face here. Like, you're going to the Eye of the World to face, basically, the Dark One, it seems. Like,
I was going to say, to face what?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we do get that this is dangerous, because now that this door is just, like,
it's
left
broken.
open. Yeah, busted open. They have...
The wind can't get out, but anyone can just wander in.
That's true.
And so someone named Algimar...
Well, that's a good try, but I have a glossary definition for you.
Agelmar?
Yeah.
Agelmar.
Agelmar. Glossary definition?
It's time for glossary definitions with Brett.
So, Lord Agelmar of House Jagad. He is the Lord of Faldara.
Of course he is.
And his sign is 3 running red foxes.
Why not? Why isn't it that?
So Lord Agelmar. But so she references that Lord Agelmar needs to know, because they can see the towers off in the distance, so that's clearly Faldara.
Yeah, and he's got to send men to wall it up once they reach Faldara.
And that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, she points north to the towers in the misty distance above the barren treetops.
Yeah.
So they're just going to go to Faldara and just leave this open like this and hope nobody wanders over here?
Well, for the time being, they have no better alternative.
Yeah, well, it doesn't seem very safe. Like, they probably shouldn't just leave the waygate like that.
So what would you recommend?
Someone should...
Because you're being, like, naive here, where you're saying we can't just leave it, but Moraine's going to say, well, we don't really have a choice. We've got more important things to do.
Well, somebody's got to hang out there.
So you want to leave one of the crew behind.
Or 2.
To prevent who from wandering in. They're in the middle of the wilderness.
Idiots.
Just like random people?
Random idiots.
Yeah.
Who wander into strange places and then die because they do that.
Yeah. Shoot.
I am not being like naive. I resent that.
You're a little bit.
This is my job in this podcast.
Yeah.
To question everything.
That's fair, but if you're going to question, you got to provide a solution.
No, I don't.
That's a naive thing to say.
So I also think that it's interesting because since you made your reference about waygates being impossible to destroy.
Yeah.
But I guess she didn't destroy the actual waygate.
No, she destroyed the door.
She destroyed the locked door, and now it's just open.
Yeah, imagine a waygate is the portal, and then there are doors that open and close.
Yeah.
The doors are not indestructible. The waygate themselves are.
Right. Okay.
For the most part, like, from what we can tell.
Right. And so, is this something that can just, like, have a brick wall built in front of it?
That would be not the worst thing. It'd be better than nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you could just build a wall in front of it so people can't just wander in accidentally.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Okay.
Right? Surround it with boulders, like, do whatever.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. But one big topic I want to bring it back to is lands, detect evil sense going off with this whole something behind them. So do you think that it was...
Yeah, looking back on it, I actually don't think it was Trollocs. I think it's interesting that they came across Trollocs and got some confirmation that Trollocs and Fades have been using the ways.
Yeah.
Or Trollocs have at least.
Yeah.
But I think what Lan was sensing was actually the Black Wind.
Okay, and that's why he described it as someone or something.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he really could tell. I think that he has probably some extra super senses.
Yeah, it seems like that.
Right? And so that really seems to be what it is. I don't know if Trollocs would avoid people in the ways. And now that I'm saying it, I don't know if the wind would either. Because he said it almost caught up to them but went down another bridge.
Yeah.
Unless the wind isn't like...
fully sentient.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just moving around until it actually catches scent kind of thing.
It's a good point because even Mashadar and Shadow Logoth came very close to some people and didn't really move.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what this reminded me of.
It wasn't like predatory hunting them down. It was more like happenstance that it came across the living creatures and then like ate the Trollocs when they got too close.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah. So that's what I do think. I think that...
So it was not, in fact, Gollum following them?
Doubtful.
Okay, doubtful.
How would Gollum get out of there?
He
doesn't have an Ogier guide.
Sneaking.
Oh yeah, sneaking. Nice. Good one.
Thanks.
I do know that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to move on.
Yeah.
Especially because at the beginning of next chapter, I caught a sneak peek and there is going to be a new map.
There is a new map. How closely did you look at the map?
I looked at it.
Really good?
Yeah.
Okay, because the next chapter is called Fal Dara.
Yes.
So we can assume we're getting to
Fal Dara.
But there's also something on the map called the Seven Towers.
Yeah, I did see that too.
Yeah, and we've met a certain...
The Lord of the Seven Towers.
The Lord of the Seven Towers.
Interesting.
Last Lord of the Seven Towers,
right.
In fact.
Can you be a warder and a lord, though? Do you, give that up?
Maybe.
Also, another interesting note, we have our friend Tyler on as a guest for next episode.
Yeah. Almost, 3/4 of a book later.
Yeah. I guess we'll have him back.
Yeah, I guess he's good enough.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So I think that will do it because I have some preparing to do.
You do. All right.
I'm excited to move on.
So I guess this chapter is now part of the pattern.
It is part of the pattern. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Wheel Weaves. If you're interested in bonus content, cool stickers, shoutouts, access to exclusive insider looks, and to support us making great content, you can head over to patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. You can find us on social media where we love interacting with our listeners. We're on Twitter at The Wheel Weaves Podcast and on Instagram at The Wheel Weaves Podcast. You can also join the conversation on our Discord channel. There is a channel for no spoilers that I have access to, and we also have a spoilers channel that Brett controls, so fun for everybody. There will be a link on Twitter and also over on our Patreon page. You can check that out. Please feel free to rate, comment, and subscribe. This really does make a huge difference. Plus, if you want to tell a friend about us, maybe someone who is just getting into the book series for the first time, or other longtime fans who you think would enjoy us, word of mouth is the best way for us to reach new listeners, and we would take it as a really huge compliment. Thanks, as always, to audionautics.com for the music, and thanks to you awesome listeners.